The autumn rain fell steadily over downtown Seattle, creating small rivers along the sidewalks and forcing everyone to huddle under awnings and doorways. Vincent Harlow checked his watch for the third time in 5 minutes. The board meeting had run late, and now he was stuck waiting for his driver to navigate through the flooded streets. He ducked into a small café he had never noticed before, shaking water from his dark hair as the warm air inside embraced him. The café was crowded with people escaping the weather. Vincent ordered a black coffee and found a spot near the window where he could watch for his car. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through emails without really reading them. His mind was elsewhere, as it often was these days. 6 months had passed since the divorce. 6 months since he had signed the papers that ended his marriage to Natalie. 6 months, and the pain had not lessened at all. The shock of recognition, a woman's laugh cut through the ambient noise of the cafe. Vincent's head snapped up at the familiar sound. His heart stopped. There, standing near the counter with her back to him, was Natalie. He would recognize her anywhere. The way she tucked her chestnut hair behind her left ear, the elegant slope of her shoulders, the graceful way she moved. She turned slightly to reach for her coffee, and Vincent felt the air leave his lungs. Natalie was pregnant. Not just a little bit pregnant, but unmistakably, undeniably pregnant. Her hand rested protectively on the curve of her belly. Visible beneath the soft fabric of her dress, Vincent's coffee cup slipped from his fingers, hitting the table with a clatter that made several people turn and stare. Natalie's eyes found his across the crowded room. Her face went pale, then flushed deep red. For a moment, neither of them moved. They simply stared at each other across the distance that felt both like inches and miles. Confronting the implausible Natalie, grabbed her coffee, and turned toward the door. But Vincent was already on his feet, weaving through tables to reach her. "Natalie, wait!" he called out, his voice rough with emotion. She stopped, but did not turn around. Her shoulders were tense, her whole body rigid. Vincent came around to face her, his eyes immediately dropping to her pregnant belly before meeting her gaze again. "How far along are you?" He asked the question, tumbling out before he could think of something more tactful to say. 7 months, Natalie replied quietly, her voice barely audible over the chatter around them. 7 months. Vincent's mind raced through calculations. They had been divorced for 6 months, but they had separated 2 months before the divorce was finalized. That made 8 months since they had last lived together. But they had seen each other during that separation period, handling paperwork, dividing belongings. There had been that one night, about a week before the final papers were signed. "Is it mine?" The words came out as a whisper, filled with hope and fear in equal measure. Natalie's eyes flashed with something Vincent could not quite read. Anger, maybe, or pain. "I really need to go, Vincent. Please move." "Memories of what was lost we tried for 4 years," Vincent said, his voice breaking. "For years, Natalie. The doctors said it was impossible. They said, your chances were less than 1%. How is this happening?" Natalie's hand tightened on her coffee cup. "Bodies are complicated, Vincent. Doctors are not always right. Sometimes things change. Sometimes miracles happen. Whose miracle is this?" Vincent asked, though he was afraid of the answer. "Have you met someone? Are you seeing someone new?" A tear slid down Natalie's cheek. "You have no right to ask me that anymore. We are divorced. My life is my own now." Vincent felt like someone had punched him in the chest. "So you are with someone. You have moved on. You are having the family we always wanted, just not with me." "You are the one who suggested the divorce," Natalie said, her voice rising slightly. "You are the one who said we should stop trying, that we should move on with our lives. You told me to let go, because I could not stand watching you hurt anymore," Vincent shot back. "Every negative test, every failed treatment, it was killing you. It was killing us. I thought I was doing the right thing by setting you free." The weight of unanswered questions, Natalie wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "And you did set me free? So now you need to leave me alone and let me live my life." She moved past him, pushing open the cafe door and stepping out into the rain. Vincent followed her to the sidewalk, oblivious to the water soaking through his expensive suit. "Natalie, please. If there is any chance that baby is mine, I deserve to know. I have a right to know. She turned to face him one last time. The rain plastered her hair to her face, mixing with her tears. You want to know if this baby is yours? Fine, I will tell you, no. This baby has nothing to do with you, Vincent. Nothing at all. The words hit him like bullets. Vincent stood frozen as Natalie walked away, her figure growing smaller until she disappeared around a corner. His phone buzzed in his pocket. His driver had arrived, but Vincent could not move. He could only stand there in the pouring rain, watching the spot where his ex-wife had vanished, his heart breaking all over again. A sleepless night, Vincent did not remember the drive home. He found himself in his penthouse apartment, standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the city. The lights of Seattle twinkled in the darkness, indifferent to his pain. He poured himself a drink, but did not taste it. 7 months pregnant. That meant conception had happened around the time of their separation, maybe even right before the divorce was finalized. He pulled out his phone and scrolled back through his calendar to that period. There had been one night, one final night, when Natalie had come to pick up some of her things from the apartment. They had both been emotional. They had both had too much wine. They had fallen into bed together one last time, a goodbye that felt like breaking apart rather than coming together. Could that have been when it happened? After 4 years of trying, 4 years of negative tests and medical interventions and heartbreak, could one unplanned, emotionally charged night have created the miracle they had given up on? But Natalie had said the baby was not his. She had looked him in the eye and told him this child had nothing to do with him. Vincent wanted to believe she was lying, protecting herself or protecting him from something. But Natalie had never been a liar. Even when the truth hurt, she had always been honest. The dawn of doubt as dawn broke over the city, Vincent made a decision. He could not let this go. He could not spend the rest of his life wondering if he had a child out there in the world. He would find out the truth, one way or another. Even if that truth destroyed him completely? Vincent barely slept that night. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the encounter with Natalie. Her words echoed in his mind like a cruel refrain. This baby has nothing to do with you. But the timing refused to leave him alone. 7 months pregnant meant conception happened right around their final days together. The mathematics of it tormented him through the dark hours. By morning, Vincent looked like he had aged 5 years. Dark circles hung beneath his eyes, and his normally sharp appearance had been replaced by rumpled clothes and uncombed hair. His assistant, Paula, took one look at him when he arrived at the office and immediately brought him strong coffee without being asked. "Rough night, sir?" she asked carefully. "You could say that," Vincent muttered, closing his office door behind him. He tried to focus on work, but the reports and financial projections swam before his eyes without meaning. Finally, around noon, he picked up his phone and dialed a number he had not called in nearly a year. Dr. Rebecca Walsh, the fertility specialist who had treated him and Natalie through their painful journey toward parenthood. Seeking medical answers, Dr. Walsh's office. "This is Jennifer speaking. This is Vincent Harlow. I need to speak with Dr. Walsh as soon as possible. It's urgent." There was a pause. "Mr. Harlow, Dr. Walsh has patients all afternoon. Can I schedule you for later this week? Tell her it's about Natalie Brooks, my ex-wife. Tell her it's extremely important." Another pause, longer this time. "Please hold." 5 minutes later, Dr. Walsh's familiar voice came through the line. "Vincent, what's going on? Is Natalie okay?" "I don't know," Vincent admitted. "I saw her yesterday. She's pregnant. Very pregnant. 7 months, she said." The silence on the other end stretched out. "I see," Dr. Walsh finally said. "How is that possible? You told us natural conception was almost impossible. You said her condition made pregnancy extremely unlikely without medical intervention?" Dr. Walsh sighed. "Vincent, I need to be very careful here because of patient confidentiality. But I can tell you that medicine is not an exact science. We deal in probabilities, not certainties. When I told you and Natalie that natural conception was unlikely, I meant exactly that. Unlikely, not impossible." The memory trap Vincent's hand tightened on the phone. so it could happen. After all those years of trying, it could just happen naturally. The human body is full of surprises. Stress levels change, hormone levels fluctuate, sometimes conditions improve on their own. I've seen patients conceive naturally after years of infertility. It's rare, but it happens. Could the stress of divorce have actually helped? Made her more fertile somehow? Sometimes when couples stop the pressure of trying to conceive, when they stop timing everything and stressing over it, their bodies relax. Paradoxically, that can sometimes make conception more likely. But Vincent, I really cannot discuss Natalie's specific medical situation with you. You are no longer her husband. Those words stung more than Vincent expected. I understand. Thank you, Dr. Walsh. He hung up and sat back in his chair, his mind spinning. The doctor's words offered possibility, but no certainty. The baby could be his. Or it could belong to someone else Natalie had met in the months after their separation. Someone who had given her the family Vincent could not provide. Memories surface. Vincent closed his eyes and let himself remember. Their relationship had been magic at the beginning. They had met at a charity auction 5 years ago. Natalie had been working at a prestigious art gallery, and she had been bidding on a sculpture for a client. Vincent had been immediately captivated by her intelligence. Her passion for art, her quick laugh. Their first date had lasted 12 hours. Dinner had turned into a walk through the city, which had turned into coffee at sunrise. Within 6 months, they were married in a small ceremony on the coast, surrounded by close friends and family. They had been deliriously happy, planning their future together, talking about the children they would have. Then came the trying. Month after month of disappointment, the initial optimism had slowly transformed into desperation. Temperature charts, ovulation kits, scheduled intimacy that felt more clinical than romantic. When nothing worked, they had turned to Dr. Walsh and the world of fertility treatments. Vincent remembered holding Natalie's hand through the first IVF cycle, feeling hopeful despite the odds. When it failed, she had cried for days. The second attempt had been worse. Natalie had been so sure it would work, had been so positive. The negative pregnancy test had broken something inside her that Vincent had not known how to fix. The breaking point, their marriage had become a minefield of carefully avoided topics. They stopped talking about the future. They stopped making plans. Every pregnancy announcement from friends felt like a personal attack. Every child they saw was a reminder of they could not have. Vincent had watched the woman he loved disappear into grief and self-blame. She had started withdrawing from social events, declining invitations to baby showers, avoiding family gatherings where cousins brought their growing broods. She had quit her job at the gallery, saying she needed time to focus on herself. But really, she had just needed to hide from the world. The night Vincent had suggested divorce, Natalie had looked almost relieved. "I cannot do this anymore," she had whispered. "I cannot keep failing you. I cannot keep being the reason we cannot have what we want." "You are not failing me," Vincent had insisted. But his words had felt hollow even to his own ears. They had agreed to separate immediately and file for divorce after the required waiting period. Natalie had moved into a friend's apartment while she looked for her own place. They had divided their possessions with painful civility, neither wanting to fight over material things when their hearts were already so bruised. The final night, then, had come that last night. About a week before the divorce would be finalized, Natalie had stopped by the penthouse to collect some art pieces she had left behind. They had been polite at first, distant. But then Vincent had offered her wine, and one glass had become two, had become a bottle. They had talked about good memories, laughing through tears at old jokes and shared adventures. The conversation had shifted to regrets, to everything they wished they had done differently. "I still love you," Natalie had said suddenly, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "I know we are doing the right thing by ending this, but I need you to know that I still love you." Vincent had kissed her then, and she had kissed him back with desperate hunger. They had made love on the living room floor, urgent and emotional, holding each other like drowning people clutching at life preservers. Afterward, they had lain tangled together, both knowing it was goodbye, but neither willing to say the words. Natalie had left before sunrise. Vincent had woken alone to find a note on the pillow. "Thank you for loving me the best way you knew how. I hope you find happiness. N." That had been 8 months ago. The stakeout Vincent found himself driving past Natalie's apartment that evening. He told himself he was just curious about where she lived now, but he knew he was lying to himself. He parked across the street and watched the lit windows of her second-floor unit. After 20 minutes, he saw her silhouette move past the window. Then another figure joined her, male by the build. Vincent's chest tightened. The two figures stood close together, and Vincent could see gestures that suggested conversation. Then the male figure hugged Natalie, and Vincent felt his heart crack open. She had moved on. She was with someone new. Someone who could give her the baby she had always wanted. Someone who was not broken like Vincent, not haunted by years of failure. His phone rang, startling him. James Carter's name appeared on the screen. His best friend and business partner. "Where are you?" James asked without preamble. "You missed the investor meeting." Vincent had completely forgotten. "Something came up. Is this about Natalie?" "Paula mentioned you seemed upset this morning." Vincent hesitated, then told James everything. About the encounter in the café, about the pregnancy, about his confusion and pain. "Man, you need to talk to her," James said when Vincent finished. "Really talk to her. Not ambush her in a café, but sit down and have an honest conversation. She told me the baby is not mine. Is she really, though? Or did she just refuse to discuss it? There's a difference." Vincent thought about that. Natalie had said the baby had nothing to do with him, but had she actually said it was not his? The distinction felt important, somehow. "What if she is with someone else?" Vincent asked quietly. "What if I go there and she confirms that she has moved on, and I have to face that reality?" "Then at least you will know," James replied. "Right now, you are torturing yourself with possibilities. Get the truth, whatever it is. You deserve that much." The decision after hanging up, Vincent sat in his car for a long time, watching Natalie's windows. The male figure had left, and Natalie was alone again. Vincent could see her moving around, probably making dinner or tidying up. She looked peaceful, or at least as peaceful as anyone 7 months pregnant could look. He thought about marching up there right now, demanding answers. But it was late, and he was emotionally raw. This conversation needed to happen when he was calm. When he could hear whatever truth Natalie had to tell him without falling apart, Vincent started his car and drove home, already rehearsing in his mind what he would say. Tomorrow, he decided. Tomorrow, he would go to Natalie and ask for the truth. Whatever she told him, however much it hurt, he needed to know as he lay in bed that night. Vincent allowed himself to hope for just a moment. Hope that the baby was his. Hope that somehow, against all odds, the miracle they had given up on had happened after all. Hope that maybe, just maybe, this was not the end of their story, but the beginning of something new. Vincent stood outside Natalie's apartment building for 15 minutes before he could force himself to press the buzzer. His heart hammered against his ribs, and his palms were sweating despite the cool October air. He had rehearsed what he would say 100 times during the sleepless night, but now every planned word had fled from his mind. Finally, he pressed the button next to her name. The intercom crackled to life after a long pause. "Yes." Natalie's voice sounded cautious, wary. "It's Vincent." "Please, Natalie. I just need to talk to you. Just 10 minutes." Silence stretched out so long that Vincent thought she might refuse. Then the door buzzed, unlocking. Vincent's legs felt weak as he climbed the stairs to the second floor. Natalie was waiting in her doorway, one hand resting on her pregnant belly. Her expression unreadable. 10 minutes, she said firmly. Stepping aside to let him enter, inside her world, the apartment was small but beautifully decorated. Vincent recognized some of their old furniture, pieces Natalie had taken when they divided their belongings. Soft watercolor paintings hung on the walls, her own work from the period before infertility had consumed their lives. The space felt warm and lived in, so different from his sterile penthouse. Natalie moved to the couch and sat down carefully. The movements of someone in their third trimester. Vincent remained standing, suddenly unsure of everything. She looked tired but healthy, her skin glowing with that pregnancy radiance people always talked about. She wore soft gray leggings and an oversized sweater, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She had never looked more beautiful to him. "Your 10 minutes are starting," Natalie said quietly. Vincent took a deep breath. "I need the truth, Natalie. Not the version you think will hurt me less or protect you more. The real truth. Is there any possibility that baby is mine?" The wall crumbles. Natalie's carefully composed expression wavered. Her eyes filled with tears that she blinked back furiously. "Why are you doing this, Vincent? Why can you not just let me go?" "Because I have spent every day of the last 6 months trying to let you go and failing. Because I lie awake at night remembering what we had, what we lost. Because seeing you pregnant with the child we wanted so desperately is breaking my heart all over again." Vincent's voice cracked. "And because the timing does not add up. 7 months pregnant, Natalie? That puts conception right around the time of our final night together." A tear escaped down Natalie's cheek. She wiped it away angrily. "You think I have not done that math? You think I have not lain awake every single night since I found out, trying to figure out how to handle this?" Vincent's breath caught. "So it is mine, I did not say that. But you did not deny it either." Vincent moved closer, kneeling in front of the couch so they were at eye level. "Natalie, please. I am begging you. Just tell me the truth." The truth emerged as Natalie covered her face with her hands, her shoulders shaking. When she finally looked up, her face was streaked with tears. "Yes," she whispered. "The baby is yours." The words hit Vincent like a physical force. He felt dizzy, overwhelmed, like the entire world had shifted on its axis. "When did you find out?" 3 months ago. I was feeling sick, exhausted. I thought I had caught some virus. My friend Sophie convinced me to take a pregnancy test just to rule it out before going to the doctor. When it came back positive, I thought it was broken. I took 5 more tests. They were all positive." Vincent's mind reeled. 3 months ago. "You have known for 3 months and you did not tell me? What was I supposed to say?" Natalie's voice rose, sharp with emotion. "We were divorced, Vincent. We had already said goodbye. Was I supposed to call you up and say, 'Remember that last night when we were both emotional wrecks?' Well, I am pregnant now, and it is yours. Yes. That is exactly what you should have done." Vincent stood up, pacing the small living room. "I had a right to know. Fear and vulnerability you had given up," Natalie said, her voice breaking. "We both had. We spent 4 years trying to have a baby, and it destroyed us. It destroyed our marriage. I could not bring myself to tell you that the thing we wanted most in the world had happened right after we decided to stop wanting it." Vincent stopped pacing and looked at her. Really looked at her. He saw the fear in her eyes, the vulnerability she was trying so hard to hide. "You thought I would not want it? You thought I would not want you?" Fresh tears spilled down Natalie's cheeks. "I thought you would feel trapped, like you had to come back out of obligation, not because you wanted to. Or worse, I thought you might think I did this on purpose, that I somehow tricked you. Natalie." Vincent returned to kneel in front of her, taking her hands in his. "I spent 4 years desperate to have a child with you. For years willing to try anything, spend any amount of money, endure any treatment. Why would you think I would not want this baby?" "Because you let me go," Natalie whispered. "You suggested the divorce. You told me it was okay to stop trying. I thought you were relieved to be free of all that burden." Understanding the past, Vincent felt his own tears threatening. "I suggested the divorce because watching you hurt was killing me. Every negative test felt like I was watching you die a little bit more. I thought setting you free was the most loving thing I could do. But it was never relief, Natalie. It was the hardest thing I have ever done." Natalie pulled one hand free to wipe her eyes. "I saw you watching my apartment last night. I saw your car parked across the street." Vincent flushed with embarrassment. "I know, I am sorry. That was wrong of me. I thought you were angry. I thought you had figured it out, and you were trying to decide what to do about it. Who was the man I saw with you?" Natalie gave a watery laugh. "That was Thomas, Sophie's husband. He came to install a baby gate on the stairs. He is terrible at it, by the way. It took him 3 hours." Relief flooded through Vincent, so powerfully he almost felt lightheaded. "So you are not seeing anyone?" How could I see anyone? Natalie gestured to herself. I am 7 months pregnant with my ex-husband's baby, and I still cry when I hear our wedding song on the radio. I am not exactly dating material right now. Vincent squeezed her hand gently. Do you still love me? The question hung in the air between them, heavy with possibility. Natalie looked down at their joined hands, then back up at Vincent's face. I never stopped loving you. That was never the problem. We loved each other through all of it. We just could not figure out how to survive the grief together. What if we got a second chance? Vincent asked softly. What if this baby is our second chance to do things right? I am terrified, Natalie admitted. What if it happens again? What if the pressure of being parents breaks us, just like the pressure of trying to become parents did? Then we will handle it together. But Natalie, we are not the same people we were 6 months ago. We have both been through loss now. We know what it feels like to live without each other. Maybe that makes us stronger. Hope rekindled. Natalie placed Vincent's hand on her belly. As if on cue, the baby kicked, a strong flutter against his palm. Vincent's eyes widened, his face transforming with wonder. That is our baby, Natalie said, watching his reaction. Our miracle baby that happened when we were not even trying anymore. When we had given up hope completely, Vincent felt tears streaming down his face now, unashamed. I have missed so much already. For months of your pregnancy. The first ultrasound. Hearing the heartbeat for the first time. I have pictures, Natalie said quickly. Videos too. I recorded the ultrasounds. I know I should have told you, but I kept them anyway. Some part of me always hoped I would get to share them with you. Where she reached for her phone and pulled up a folder of images and videos. Vincent watched, mesmerized, as his child appeared on the screen. A perfectly formed baby, sucking its thumb, stretching tiny limbs. The sound of the heartbeat, steady and strong, filled the small apartment. Building something new. Do you know what we are having? Vincent asked, unable to tear his eyes from the screen. Natalie smiled. The first real smile he had seen from her since their chance meeting in the café. A girl? We are having a daughter. Vincent pressed his forehead against Natalie's, both of them crying now. A daughter? We are going to have a daughter. Do you want to be involved? Natalie said carefully. I am not asking you to come back to me, Vincent. I know things are complicated, but you deserve to be part of her life if you want to be. Vincent pulled back to look at her. Natalie Brooks, I want to be part of both of your lives. Not out of obligation. Not because I have to, but because you two are my family. You have always been my family, even when we were signing divorce papers. We failed once, Natalie reminded him, but her voice held hope now instead of fear. We did not fail. We survived something that breaks most couples. And we survived it with our love for each other still intact. That is not failure. That is strength. Vincent cupped her face in his hands. Let me prove it to you. Let me show you that we can do this right this time. No pressure, no expectations. Just taking it one day at a time. A new beginning. Natalie searched his face for a long moment. Whatever she saw there must have satisfied her because she nodded slowly. One day at a time. But Vincent, I need you to promise me something. Anything. If it gets hard again, if we start falling apart, we talk about it. We do not let the silence grow between us like we did before. We face things together, or not at all. Promise, Vincent said solemnly. Then, hesitantly, can I kiss you? Natalie's answer was to close the distance between them. The kiss was soft and tender, full of hope and second chances. When they pulled apart, both were smiling through their tears. Our daughter is going to have the most dramatic origin story, Natalie said with a shaky laugh. She is going to have parents who love each other and who fought their way back to each other, Vincent corrected. That is a pretty good story, if you ask me. They sat together on the couch, Vincent's hand resting on Natalie's belly as their daughter moved beneath his palm. Outside, the autumn sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Inside, two people who had loved and lost and found each other again began planning their future together. We have a lot to figure out, Natalie said eventually. Where we will live, how we will handle the logistics, what we will tell people. We have time, Vincent assured her. We have almost 3 months before she arrives. That is plenty of time to figure things out. Natalie leaned her head against his shoulder. I missed you. Every single day I missed you. I missed you too. But we are together now. That is what matters. The promise of tomorrow's darkness fell over the city. Vincent stayed with Natalie. They ordered takeout and continued talking, filling in the gaps of the 6 months they had spent apart. Natalie showed him the nursery she had started preparing in the small second bedroom, painted in soft yellow with white furniture. Vincent made mental notes about what else she would need, what he could provide to make her life easier. When it was time for Vincent to leave, he lingered at the door. Can I come back tomorrow? Maybe we could go to your next doctor's appointment together? I would like that, Natalie said, and the smile she gave him held all the warmth of their early days together. Vincent drove home that night, feeling lighter than he had in months. The pain and confusion of the past days had transformed into something bright and hopeful. He was going to be a father. He was going to have a second chance with the woman he loved. Against all odds, the miracle they had given up on had happened anyway. Sometimes, Vincent realized, the best things in life come when you stop chasing them so desperately. Sometimes you have to let go before you can truly hold on. And sometimes the ending of one story is really just the beginning of another. Their daughter would be born into a world of love. Raised by parents who had learned the hard way that some things are worth fighting for, she would be their miracle, their second chance, their proof that hope can survive even the darkest nights. Vincent fell asleep that night with a smile on his face, dreaming of the future that awaited them all. The end.